Now, let's let's go. So I'm I'm gonna give you an example that in every culture, I mean, you have a better shot at dating overseas than you have a shot here in this culture, in this country. Um, Overseas, and this is for people who want to go overseas, because in this country, it's going to cost you a lot of money to try to get the so-called good women, right? Because they're going to overprice you for average looks and the average treatment that other men in other countries get being broke. There's men in other countries who don't even make $15,000 a year. Some of them don't even make $20,000 or $30,000 a year, and they got a wife, they got kids. One of the things that I'm envious of is the fact is that a lot of these guys are swimming in great looking women. In the lower class, in the middle class, well, most of them don't have middle class, and even in the rich class, there's no distinct abilities between those classes. Only in America where the best looking women get to hike up prices and pretend like there ain't women outside of the country that looks better than her in a lower class. That's the reason why the reason why they have a culture, because other cultures have been around longer than the American culture. If I'm thinking right now, America is only about 200. Well, what is it? Let me check how old is America, cause I'm trying to get it right. Is that right? America is 245 years old. 247. 247 years old. That's the culture. Every culture have long drawn out histories to how to handle their women. Some cultures was infected by feminism or whatever, but they hastily have a way to deal with the lonely men in their countries. See, I'm a purveyor that nobody teaches guys this. In Japan, they keep the men occupied. The guys who can't get wives, the guys who can't get girlfriends, they keep them occupied with other shit. Also, they don't frown upon prostitution. They just call it different things. Every country utilize prostitution as a buffer to keep men happy, even if they can't get a wife or a girlfriend. Only in America where they keep prostitution away from men in order to try to make men date women or marry women or get caught up in the system. Or they try to up price a lot of men into taking a deal with an average looking woman in order to be this so-called high productive guy with an ugly average woman. In Philly, I see a lot of Latino dudes, short guys, not that great looking, having beautiful wives. They don't even make a lot of money. They don't even make close to what I used to make or what I did make a couple years ago. None of them. but they still have a wife. I know the gym I went to, it was a chick. She had glasses on, and her friend was one of her friend, her best friend, the gym best friend was Asian. She was, I think, Vietnamese or something. She married the Vietnamese girl. Married her trainer. They got married like a couple years ago. I don't know if they still together. I'm not checking up on them or not that. But he was a trainer there. They got married. Dude was a short dude, Latino short dude with some muscles. Everybody had muscles. We in the gym, of course. But chick was glasses. So that at that time I had my hackers, and found out they was in some financial troubles. Right? She's still with him. She didn't leave him for that financial troubles. I started to be envious of some of these guys and their culture, because their guys get to have downtime and everything else. And I asked myself, there's a reason why these dudes work, because there's a reason why these dudes hard work and they do just about anything, because they're guaranteed a wife and a family. They are guaranteed a wife and a family, which are not guaranteed over here. A guy that can make $1,200 a week is guaranteed nothing over in America. A guy who makes $20,000 can't guarantee nothing over here, right? They don't like the hustle cultures, blah blah blah. The funny thing about this is that I watched many guys come over here, sleep in storage lockers with their wife for 2 years, and then get a house because they had people that had their back. I seen guys, clean floors along with me when I was doing that, and tell me about his story and his girlfriend that came over here. There's guys who was sleeping in the house with like 8-9 people while they was fixing up certain houses in the neighborhood, and then they got it. I remember there was some Dominican girls came over here with their families, with their entire family. They didn't get citizenships until like 5 years, 6 years later. I think so. Yeah, 6 years, 5 years later. They showed that their citizenship finally came through after like 6 years. Even though they were dating a guy here in the States. One of the girls I tried to talk to ended up dating a dude that I was in competition with. Really, I wasn't, because I knew to back the fuck off, because I knew that he was going to try to either poke me up. He was going to try to poke me up, or I would have had to fight the big Dominican family over this chick. She looked it better back then, but I'll show y'all what she looked like. I'll show you what she looked like back then. But the funny thing, right? I'm watching other races of men who make half the money not being told that they got to be this super successful guy, get wives and everything else, and they don't get away with a lot of this shit. I seen players play around in certain areas, in certain cultures. They players, but they know not to mess with none of people's wives and girlfriends. I see the hardworking guys. I see the nerds getting some ass. I see the quiet neat guys gets ass in other communities and everything else. And I'm looking and like, this country got it the fuck wrong. You want guys to get their shit together to get with below average bitches and be unhappy because it somehow makes them get power or a family. We didn't learn from we didn't learn from the grandpa era getting with Big Mama. That's the reason why there is more SYSBM. That's the reason why there's more black men going with white women and Latina women. They just look better. Their women look better. That's the reason why Asian dudes ain't going nowhere. They don't go outside their race because they don't like the women that they got available to outside their race. Only people they will probably go for at a long list is probably the white women and some of the Brazilians or whatever. I've seen Korean dudes I seen Korean dudes knock down some good looking black women, Latino women, white women. Then they wasn't the so called Asian Chads. There wasn't just exceptions. They were Korean in their country. Women, women going overseas to date too. But only a small bit of them are actually successful, right? So I'm going to give you an instances and I'm going to give you examples that the market overseas is a lot better for men to start off. If you are a virgin and you never had sex and you don't know what it's like, if you don't know what it's like to be for a woman to like you, look up to you, you know, smell her perfumes, watch her get dressed or whatever, or have her lay on you and do all this other stuff, do it overseas. You can fuck up. You can fuck up, not massively, but you can fuck up overseas without being shamed. You can fuck up in the bedroom and you can fuck up sometimes in certain situations. Not massively, socially, but you can fuck up a little bit. You can make small mistakes overseas. Because you know why? Because the men overseas, they're treating their women like absolute garbage. They're switching them out. They're doing like this and this. And I'm going to give you examples. Now, you looking at this guy right here. This guy right here. You think this man right here has a problem getting women? No. My man's right here got the tattoos. He was a police officer, right? He was a police officer. My man got the looks. He can get any woman he want. I would have to tell you right now, a lot of men overseas are worse than the men over here. They don't let go. They become possessive, and either somebody gets knocked off or they both get knocked off. It's a very common affair to have a man take the girl's life in his own life. I think, was it in Austria or somewhere else, a guy shot his ex-girlfriend's fiance in front of her. And then, it's on video, but somebody from a view, then shot himself. There's a lot of men overseas that make the dating market easier for men, certain men, to come overseas and date their women. The narrative that these guys don't like men coming over there dating their women, they treat their women like shit. They don't give a shit about them. There's a video of a dude tossing a chick out of the window because they fought. He was beating on her. There's another one. There was this lawyer, Brazilian lawyer, who dated a younger chick. They was gonna break up. It was on CCT camera, and he pulled out a gun, popped her a couple times after she was getting her luggage and stuff. He was crying, whatever, and then he popped himself right there and fell on the ground. There's another cop in Colombia who ran up on his pregnant girlfriend who worked at the precinct as well, popped her, popped some of the people inside of the place, and then popped himself in the corner. There's a lot of abuse going on overseas because a lot of dudes they're expending their options. You can look at some of these men overseas as being uncontrollable, just like the women here. And the women get sick of that. And when they see us, not all the time, they see us as a new opportunity and a new group of men to mess with. This is why the relationships, women hold on to some guys as tight as they can. A black dude treat them right. I talked to a guy who told me he went to Japan. And this is, I think, a couple years ago. He told me that his girlfriend at the time, now wife, She was called ugly in the Japanese community. She's not. She was called ugly and all types of names. And as soon as she met him, she never felt beautiful in her whole entire life. Even from the fact that he felt like she was so depressed from it. And even she told him that she wanted to take her life multiple times, but didn't get the courage to do it because she didn't want to shame her family, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And she said he was the first guy that made her feel absolutely beautiful. And he meant it because he was used to not being treated like a human being. Mind you, overseas, a lot of women don't get treated like they're human beings. They get treated like they're property and items that you can't leave them. Because a lot of men overseas, they love hard. They love extremely hard. A lot of guys overseas, most of them are one and done. A lot of them want to be one and done. A lot of them want to be they want to be with a woman forever. And they think they found them. This is why a lot of them take their lives and take the women's lives and take their own lives. Because they love real hard. So you want to call people simps in the country, paying for women over here. That ain't no simp. A simp, you don't know what a simp is. A lot of dudes overseas there's massive grades out here full of dead men and dead women that these guys went to. A lot of these women are participating in behaviors that they see over here, but they men don't tolerate that shit. They aggressively go after them. Right? So, you see this guy, and you see the girl. He took her life, and he took the girl's life. That's one example, and it was in Brazil. Let's go right here. It was a Thai woman, a very, very wealthy Thai woman, ended up with a white guy, an older white guy who had mental issues. Don't know what happened, but he ended up taking her life and then taking his own life. This woman is very successful in Thailand. She's a very successful woman in Thailand. Now, it's funny that we're told that passport bros are lighting up the whole. Passport bros are lighting up these countries because now a lot of us going overseas, which is not true. A lot of black men ain't going overseas like that. It's just the wrong type of dudes going overseas, like a Austin Holloman. A lot of white dudes are doing a lot of shit overseas. There's a video out there, you can look it up. You do your own research, where there's a guy, it's a porn site called Asian Sex Diaries. He was having sex with a Thai woman in her house. Her mom came in watching her daughter suck off this guy, taping her. Next minute you know, the mom joined in, and she's sitting there while her daughter is getting pounded out. Then the second video, he goes and has sex with the mom and the daughter and busts in the daughter in front of the mom and have sex with them together, paying them. White dudes do a lot of wild shit. European dudes do a lot of wild shit, and they do a lot of shit in Africa. Oh my God. Oh my God. The type of shit that white dudes and European dudes in Africa. Oh my God. But hey, Africa, right? So white dudes lit up the whole passport scene before black guys even thought about it, right? But for some reason you wanted to tell us that somehow, some way, black men are messing up traveling and giving us a bad image. Y'all just celebrated hip hop that did nothing but destroy entire black people. Didn't build a damn thing, didn't build any communities like that. Like MOT said in his earlier stream today, they didn't build any communities with the money that they made. They sold these people didn't even have no respect for black people to build around this stuff and make money off of the music that you produce. Now everybody want to be an advocate of something good now. Every rapper now who rapped about something bad want to be a good guy now, right? After 50 years of 50 years of doing the wrong shit, right? You have to understand that there's a lot of shit going on overseas, and it's better for you to be plugged up than that, right? Since I'm getting support, and since I'm getting some support, shout out to gotta check his name. His name is Jay. I ain't gonna say his name. Jay, for support me in the morning. I woke up and got a Cash App. Since I'm getting support, I'm gonna do the in-depth stuff, and I'm gonna start posting stories of what's going on overseas. Right? I gotta get it all together because sometimes you gotta translate it or whatever. But I try to put it all together in a package or a video and show you the video, all the stuff that's happening overseas. A lot of shit happening. And the difference between America media and overseas media shows the bodies. They show the crime scenes and everything else. They show everything. So I can't show that. That's why I say I gotta pick and choose, because I'm not trying to get blocked or banned or whatever. But they show the gruesome shit. A lot of shit is happening overseas. You know, these men play with these women overseas like they're toys. Like they do us, like the women do over here. It's the mirror image. But the difference between the men overseas is the men don't give two shits about, most of the men don't give two shits about us going over there banging women that they tossed around and whatever, right? Some of them got jealous. White dudes, there's videos of white dudes throwing it in Asian dudes' faces in China and Korea, where Korean dudes and Chinese dudes was heated towards a white dude for messing with a Chinese girl in front of him and called her a traitor and everything else. Dude wasn't black, he was white. So they was territorial, but he was mad because he couldn't get that and he was pulling it off. You have to understand that in life, sometimes, most of the times in life, there's people who got advantages and there's people who are at disadvantage. It's depend on what you do when you at disadvantage. And you actually look at the people who have advantage over you, and you know not to be like them when you have an advantage over other people. Not one time would I ever sit back and belittle somebody because I'm talking to somebody that the dude can't talk to. But the white dudes, they're disrespectful with it. They're going over with a dude that's married and take the woman with her because she wants to go sleep with a white guy. I know a few black dudes who code of conduct isn't to mess with nobody's wife and girlfriend. They unknowingly do that. And a lot of men overseas, and I'll tell you this right now, some men, not a lot of men, a lot of these guys know they loan their wives and girlfriends out to tourists just for the money. This is why I say the shit that's happening in Colombia, let's be real, the shit that's happening in Colombia when people getting killed and getting drugged, a lot of them people are not from Colombia, they're from Venezuela. Word is they from Venezuela over there. And they come into Colombia with their gang shit and they fucking the market up for them over there. So they have to clean their shit up. So let's go right here. So a Colombian man used an unidentified toxic powder to take out his former partner in a shopping mall, taking himself out, sickening bystanders, police, and medical staff treating them. So the guy was 67 years old dating a 40-year-old. And in the shopping mall, he released a powder that he probably made and found on the internet and took out everybody, including his ex-wife. Now, there was a story I had of a video, but I'm not going to show the video, of a guy who stabbed his baby mama up, who dumped him in Colombia. It's happening over there too. These men are possessive, my mans. That's why these women are trying to go somewhere else. You're not going to get all of them, because a lot of them are taught to just stay with their own. But what you are, the women you can get, the ones that are cultured, that are marry oriented, you don't fuck with them. But the ones who there for fun, you fuck with them. If you over there for fun, do that. But if you trying to mess around with some cultured chick that wants a family with you and want to start a family with you, and you fuck with her, you need to get to deal with the consequences, like Austin Holloman. So that's what's going on overseas, man. So this happened this year, where a white dude who was married with kids got sick of his wife. He got sick of being over here with this average looking woman, and he must have got the thought of passport bros, or he must have got the thought of traveling. He went to Colombia, got with a 21-year-old DJ, and let's look at what she looks like. The 21-year-old DJ with the American man. He had a wife and kids. His wife and kids did not look nothing like, his wife did not look nothing like what he can get in Colombia. This is why I say you shouldn't settle for what people want you to settle for, because shit like this might happen. He got mad because the girl had a boyfriend, and she used him to get her apartment for her boyfriend. Like I just told you, a lot of dudes don't mind other dudes pounding their chick as long as they get something out of it, because they don't mind it. European dudes are worse at that shit too, where they share their girlfriends with the next dude, one of their friends. If they friends can't get no sex or nothing, I found out a lot of culture are not sexual strenuous. They're the real sexual liberated. There's real whores in Brazil who will fuck the nerds, the incels, everybody. They not put to specific dudes. When somebody said they fuck everybody, no, they fuck everybody from some social circles. They fuck everybody. The top guys in certain social circles, they fuck them. If they fuck a nerd, they're gonna fuck the top nerd. They're not gonna fuck the lower nerd. But some of these women overseas, they'll fuck the lower nerd, the mid nerd, the high level nerd. They'll fuck the strange dude and everything else. So this guy, he lit Colombia on fire. He killed his girlfriend because she played him, like I said. Well, let me show you what she looks like. Let's see. He boasted about his epic first date on Twitter. Now he's charged with taking out. So this is his wife, I think. He had sex with her before he beat her and choked her, and put her in a suitcase. Now, you see her and her body, and you see his wife. I think that's his wife. Yeah, he was tired of his wife. Yeah, that's his wife. The Colombian girl don't have nothing on his wife at all. Let's. This is his wife. You saw his wife. Let's go right here. This is the Colombian. This man had to go all the way overseas just to go get a better looking woman. And don't pull the bullshit with me because he's fat. Because guess what? There's guys in Colombia, there's guys in Brazil, there are guys in Mexico, there are guys that look fat like that and they still got better looking women. It's overall because the women at the certain level in class, there's better looking women in every single class overseas than here. In many shapes and sizes that respect men and want to be with men. Now, she probably wasn't making that much money as no DJ, but she, to me, she'll be a fun time, especially with the body type she has. Wait, where is it at? There we go. So, this is what happens when you settle for somebody and you really don't want a family. This guy didn't have the experience with beautiful women. He didn't even know what it's like to have a beautiful woman, but he could have been told. He should have knew that he should have had his fun and took his loss and went back over here and had his wife recoup the money that he lost overseas. Play the system. Do your thing overseas and come back because, his wife probably doing something to somebody too. I don't know. But that's a sad situation. So, as you see right here, you have a Brazilian model, well, a Brazilian influencer, and you hear this influencer. Well, there was a video out there of her hanging out a window. She fell and her body hit the floor so hard that I think it cut off one of her arms. And then he fell and I think his head fell off or something like that. This guy right here can pull any women's in Brazil because he has a nice body. But this is what I'm telling you about the dating market overseas. The market is open for every type of guy. It's just some guys don't like the options they have because their standards are a lot higher than ours. Or should I say, they're used to these women, so they don't appreciate them. The dudes that probably have a problem dating over in Brazil or in these other countries, they'll come back over here like they always do. They come here work and they see the women here and they say, "Well, I can't believe I was, saying something about about our women, about the women that the country I'm from. I'm going back to my country and marry my women. Fuck that. These women are nasty. They're disgusting," and they go back over. Chinese guys do that. Asian guys do it. Latino guys do that. Mexican dudes come over here, and then they don't marry a woman. They don't marry an American woman and get rid of their they get rid of their Mexican wife. They keep their Mexican wives. Now, as you see, a lot of this shit ends up, she fell 20 stories to her death in, was it Bolivia? Is it Bolivia? Yeah, this is in Colombia. Is it? I thought this was in Brazil. So, as you see, two attractive people, and Buddy couldn't leave her alone. See, a lot of these dudes overseas think that these women belong to them, and a lot of them don't want to do it. They're just like American men when it comes down to it. But I can tell you that a lot of dudes are traditional. A lot of dudes don't like the player shit. I can tell you a small group of men overseas are participating in player shit. A lot of them just want to get married and just be done with it. But the dating. That's why you see a lot of families in these cultures. They want and done. But when their wives step over the bounds, cheat on them, they take them out. I mean, there was an Indian dude who took out his wife because his wife decided to cheat on him with a white dude. And she came home thinking everything was sweet, and he stabbed her like 40 times. See, unlike their own group of men, a lot of us know what we in the market. If a guy like you or me, or some kind of virgin dude who goes overseas, and he has the knowledge, the red pill knowledge, and he knows his market value overseas, a girl cheat on him, he know that there's like a second one over there ready for him. He not gonna take her out, none of that. He gonna go to the next one. But these guys, they're like, no, 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 no. I'm not trying to go out and date nothing. You belong to me. And then somebody dies. Sometimes dudes don't even take the lives of the woman. They take their own life because they so heartbroken, and they like, oh, I can't believe it. I wanted to. You need to learn about a lot of what other culture of dudes be doing out here, man. Now, this guy was in Japan. It was a scandal this year. There's a video in Japan of two Japanese schoolgirls who jumped off a roof because he had sex with both of them. He's 22 or 21. The age of consent in Japan is, I think, is 16 or whatever for Japanese people. I had to put that disclaimer for Japanese people, Japanese guys. He had sex with both of them, got one of them pregnant, and one of them convinced the other to jump off a roof to show him because he played games with them. This is right here. This is the video that they jumped off the roof. I'm not showing it. And this is what this guy looks like. I tried to tell you in a video that I made about the standards of looks. A lot of women, the women in this country really do how can I put it? A lot of women in this country really do think that men over here are so damn disposable. And they don't understand that the men in this country, even the ones who so-called look bad, you know, May the alchemist will talk about somebody's gut and talk about how fat somebody is, but in some Latin cultures, in Latin communities, some of these people think that that's attractive because it means that you got money enough to eat food. It means your stomach is always full. That's one of the things that they said about Pablo Escobar before they met him. The 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 size of your stomach shows how much food you eating. So they're not unattractive to a fat guy. They'll sleep with the guy because they know he has money and they'll stick with him. Most of the cartel dudes are fat. So is May the Alchemist going to sit back and talk down to a bunch of cartel dudes and call them fat? she gonna sit back and call them fat? Almost every dude that's in criminal organizations or everything else, they're overweight because that's all they do, sit around and eat. Most of the dudes out there, them guys that make a lot of money, billionaire dudes, some of those guys, some criminal dudes, they're not in shape dudes. The most successful men in Asian cultures, they're not fit, thin guys and, oh, they got super jawlines. And no, man, they look like this. Some of the other chicks, a wrestler that I like, her name is Hazuki, like a guy like this. They got features like this. You can't try to tell other cultures who they think is attractive. I remember there was a girl that I talked to on Skype years ago when Skype was a thing. She said I was the most handsome guy she ever saw. Because she's in another country and she never seen different variation of dudes. And I said, well, I'm going to show you white guys. And she said, no, I care about you and only you. And you're, call me beautiful and all that. And I thought she was playing around. But, we talked a lot and everything. She took it, over the heart. She really wanted me to go where she at. And I'm like, it was weird. Because she felt extremely hard because she never saw anybody with my complexion. She even called her own dudes ugly. She was like, a lot of my men are ugly. But then I found out a lot of cultures of women, and you have to understand one thing too. A lot of cultures of women really don't be having sex. They're men too busy working. There's dudes out here. I say a lot of Asian dudes, they don't be getting sex from their wife. Well, they don't be having sex with their wives because they're too busy making money. Indians are known to do that. I know an Indian dude who didn't have good sex with his wife for like 7 years, until he built something, and then him and his wife had more alone time, and then eventually they, did their thing, and then they had a kid. Well, he had a couple kids. You start to find out that a lot of dudes in other countries don't prioritize that shit like us. That's the advantage that we have over them, is that we come from a quote unquote rich country. You come in with advantages that we can do that they can't. And that comes from the lowest level guy out here that supposedly can't get women over here. But then he can become a higher level dude overseas. It's just he has to watch his back and, know the stuff. So, again, oh shit, Max Payne 3, huh? Again, you have to understand that you have a big opportunity. Getting your shit together means you have more opportunities. But I'm going to break that down in another video about the things that you have to sacrifice when you get your shit together, and the things that people, when they tell you to get your shit together, they don't tell you the shit that you're going to have to do. It's going to be like climbing Mount Everest. It ain't going to be easy. It's going to be mentally draining, and you're going to have to deal with a lot of shit that's around you. But You can't let nobody dictate about what women and group of women to date. I don't give a fuck if it's 200 million women in this country. 200, 300 million women in this country, whatever. They still have more power than you. And if they have more power and they have no consequences to the actions they could do to you, then you shouldn't deal with them. You shouldn't be one to be around these people. Always never let anybody mess up your options or tell you that you need to keep doing it over here in a place that is telling you automatically what you should go, what you should do. Because when somebody tell you that there's all these women out here, to ask these people, what do you think what do you think what women do you think that incels and men who can't get women here but go overseas to get, show me the women you think they should be with, and I bet you they'll be showing some they'll be disrespecting you. That's going to show you what they think of you. The women they think are attractive and fine, you be like, nah, I don't like them. That's why I said compare and contrast. I did that shit with the African dudes. I was like, okay, show me 5 African chicks that I would like on Instagram or anything else. They couldn't find no African chicks. I said, okay, why are you telling us about African chicks when you can't even show 5 examples of good African chicks that men will want to go to these countries to date? So that's the stuff that nobody's telling you. Not a whole bunch of traveling passport guys who try to lie to you and say that women are the same everywhere. None of this. They're not telling you how the men in their environments are treating them like shit, just like the women in this environment treating men like shit. They're parallel sides. But for you, you need to get your money up, and you need to make sure that you don't mess up that audition. Difference between over here and overseas is that you are the first in line. You're not the second, you're not the third, you're not the fourth, you're not the fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, nine, 10. You are the dude that first have that audition to mess with this girl. You're in line. You have a bigger responsibility. You are priority in some instances, because you're a new dude, you're this and this and that. You have a new role when you go overseas than over here. You know, you're not gonna have to go through 100,000 women just to get to the woman you want that fit the characteristics that you want. You probably got to go through 1 or 2. And you won't have to waste a whole bunch of money doing it either. You'll waste 10 times more money over here than you will over there. And I'm talking about fake ass coffee dates, because a woman can expose you easily and lie on you and cost you it costs you not a million, it costs you $1,000 in lawyer fees to basically go to court to know that that you didn't do it. Or you're gonna have to take this person on dates while she getting pounded out, and her trying to put you in a certain zone category while she got the other guys that she's pounding out. Or you might have to pay for a hacker or a PI to look into every woman you dating to see if she's lying or she's not lying to you. And I'm gonna tell you this right now. You don't want to sit back and date in this country and having a person look into people's background and have to keep doing that to every girl you dating, because you'll be letting down and you'll be wasting a lot of money. The kind of money that you will be spending overseas will compare, it will just dwarf to the shit that you have to do over here. Because they're gonna keep taking and 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 taking. That's what this is what the environment told them to do. Take.